Alright, so now it's time to install our additional domain controller, but before we do that, we have to do the installation of our server 2019, and I'm going to go and do the installation. So we already have the ISO image downloaded, and we have our primary domain controller ready, but now we have to install our additional domain controller, and then we will be performing some failover testing so that you can see it in practical how it really works in real life if your domain is no longer functioning. All right, so how I'm going to name it? I'm going to name it San Francisco additional domain controller, and then in here again we will choose Microsoft Windows, and I'll choose other 64-bit because the server 2019 is not in the list. Alright, so I will still use 1 GB of RAM because I don't have enough RAM in my PC to assign like 5, 6, 10 GB of RAM to just a additional domain when we are doing our test or lab. Create new hard disk, VDI again, dynamically allocated, and I will choose 10 GB in here, and I'll click on create. Uh, then go to settings, storage, and in here we will simply add our optical drive, which will be the ISO image which we downloaded in our other lab. Let me remove this, and I'll go here, click on this optical, choose this, and then this is already in there. It is not attached. We will choose this. This is the image for our server, and I will start the virtual machine. So the installation will be the same. I will say you skip this video since you already know how to install it, and you go and do the installation yourself so you know how to do the installation, and it's a good practice for those who are beginner in the Windows Server 2019 or server operating systems. I will choose the language, time, and other things. Click on install now, and then once the setup starts, we will have to go through some other configurations, and then we should be good to go. Alright, same thing. We will use Windows Server 2019 Data Center Desktop Experience. Press next here, and after pressing next, I accept the terms. We are doing custom install. We are not upgrading, so I have 10 GB which we created, and then press next here, and the installation will begin. Once the installation is complete, again what we will be doing is we will be assigning a password, and once we make it a additional domain controller, we will no longer be needing to actually log in locally. Mostly we will be logging in through the domain. So let's log in here, and once we log in, the very first thing that we are going to do is we are going to make sure that we assign a name as per our naming convention, and also make sure we have a static IP address assigned, which is our goal whenever we join a domain into a when we join a PC to the domain, or we are installing additional domain controller or anything else. So all I can do is I can go to open network settings, and in there I will go to Ethernet and change adapter options, and go to properties here. Simply put 10.0.1.2 in here, and the IP address for our DNS will be the primary DNS server IP address, and it's always good practice to put its local DNS if you don't have any other. So if this DNS fails, it can use its own DNS server. Press OK here, and then the next thing will be we go to my computer, or we go to this PC. Alright, that's not working, so we can go here and then simply right click on this PC, Properties, Advanced System Settings, Computer Name, again in here. Simply type Knowledge Train San Francisco, Domain Controller 02. Alright, let me confirm SFO DISO02. Alright, so that is the name we are going to assign. I will press OK here and then restart. So that is how you install, and that is how we need to actually change the name and assign static IP address before we make this as a additional domain controller, or we do the installation of additional domain in our environment for our San Francisco office. With that said, in our next lesson, we will see how can we use this server as a additional domain, and how can we install it as a additional domain controller.